Good evening and welcome to tonight's entertainment, if you can call it that. I don't know if you can. Good evening, chat room. Julie, Shalini, who's not feeling well, apparently. Vaughn has infected her. Robin, hi Robin, good to see you. Espresso Mechanic TV. Vaughn's here himself as well. Yes, okay, it's quiet tonight, but the numbers are coming up. If you're a first-time listener or viewer, whatever you want to call yourself, if you want to get involved in the chat, hi Chris. If you want to get involved in the chat, just become a subscriber. There's no waiting period after that. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is click subscribe, and then you can speak in the chat. One says Shalini's fine. She's just being a drama queen. Oh, like you weren't, mate. Like you weren't. You weren't really ill, are you? Right, so join in the crowd. We don't bite here. We're actually quite a friendly crew. What I am going to do though, I'm going to read out my standard disclaimer before we start. So, time for the mandatory YouTube disclaimer. Pay attention. This channel and my work is based on evidence, cold hard facts. I use official documents, government reports, verifiable data to build my investigations. It's not a trust me bro operation here. We're not dealing in conspiracies, we're dealing in documented reality, unfortunately. If you think facts are a conspiracy, that's your problem, not mine. Everything is sourced, everything is verified, and understood. Understood? Also, the reports go up on sergeantgrumpy.com along with the usually extensive list of sources that you can check out for yourself. So there you go. Oh, we got a like. Well done. I always fail to ask for likes, share, subscribe, and all that because, you know, you're all adults. You should really be doing that. If you like this, then evangelize it. If you don't, oh, why are you here? Why would you sit and listen to this? You don't like me, or at least tolerate me, you know? I mean, I know sometimes you get the odd thing right. Sometimes you get the odd thing wrong. Not very often, though. But anyway, I'm not bumming myself up too much. Right. Let's crack on, as they say. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Find Out What the Government's Really Up To while everyone's arguing about football, or in this case, talking about Charlie Kirk. And we'll talk about that tomorrow, because tomorrow is a big night. Tomorrow's all in. And we go all in on everything. And I've been on Twitter a little bit today, and to be honest, I'm pretty sickened by it. Pretty sickened by it indeed. Pretty disgusted, in fact. Pretty disgusted. So, today we're diving into something that will make your tinfoil hat feel perfectly justified, even though it's not. Now, before we start, I want you all in the chat to do me a favour. Type 1 if you heard of China's social credit system. 2 if you haven't got a bloody clue what it is. Although, judging by the amount of people in the chat, I think I know the answer. They are indeed Shalini. While I'm waiting, there you go, Chris Shalini. Excellent, well done. You have heard of it, good. Day 4 of my fast. Still no food has passed these lips. I've now lost 8 pounds. I think I might break it tomorrow, it being Friday and all that. But we'll see. So I think I look thinner about the face, about the gills. Maybe not, but I feel a bit thinner here. But yeah, so we'll crack on. I think it's affecting my mind now. Right. Buckle up, buttercups. What we're about to show you will make China's system look like amateur hour compared to what our own government is building right under our noses. The social credit system is Britain building China's model. And I'll tell you right now, and especially after 20 years as a copper and months of digging through government documents, I can confirm that yes, they are. They really are. But they're doing it smarter, sneakier, and with better PR. So how many of you have you ever used the NHS app or any government services that you've had to sign up for? Even council services that you've had to sign up for in apps and things. Anybody used any of those sorts of things? Maybe even doing your tax return. DVLA, do you do that online? You know, all that kind of stuff. I bet Julie and Dreadeye, you'll need to do your taxes online now because they've made that mandatory, haven't they? When you sign up for these things, you get your little numbers, and the NHS gives you their little numbers, and you've all got all these little numbers. But if you've signed up for any of these services, you're in the system already. And most of you probably are, to be fair. You're going to love this. So let's start with the building blocks. Every good surveillance state needs to know who you are first. Can't control what you can't identify. Now remember, gov.uk, remember verify. That clusterfuck. It cost us 200 million and barely worked. Well, the government didn't abandon digital ID. Oh no, they just got cleverer about it. Enter the gov.uk wallet, launched in 2024. I haven't really heard about it before. Not many people have. Now this beauty uses biometric verification. That's face, fingerprints, all those lovely unique bits that make you, well, you. It's like your passport does. Oh, jolly good. That's a cracking stance to take, Bates and Types. There you go. There's a man on a mission. I have no phone, so I have no apps. Boom. Excellent. That's the way to do it, mate. That's the way to do it. And, you know, if anybody's going to go down, it's your missus if she has to do it all for you. So, has anyone had to verify themselves to the government services at all in the past year? You know, council tax, benefits, DVLA, NHS, voting, registration. Anybody had to do that? Prove you are human. Exactly, Shanti. Prove you are human. Oh, God, I tell you, I was going to keep it for tomorrow, but... Or should I? Oh, I'll keep it for tomorrow. Right. This is where it gets interesting. The Labour think tank has just proposed something called BritCard. And I quote, a mandatory national digital identity that would become a familiar feature of daily life for everyone in the country. Not optional, mandatory. Do you think mandatory digital ID is a good idea for security? You think it's government overreach? Or are you sitting on the fence like me or a politician? Robin says only for immigrants. Yeah, well, I think I can't really go into. I don't think I'm going to go into it in immigrants at this point in time, but I have a completely different take on them. So let's see how it compares to China's system. So China uses an 18-digit social credit unified code. The UK uses your biometric data linked to government databases. Different methods, same result. Same result. They know exactly who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, unless you're clever about it. Beats and Tapes, never voted. Good man. Not part of the system. So let's talk about money, because if you want to control people, you control their ability to buy things. It's economics 101 for authoritarians, isn't it? The Bank of England, you know, that fine institution that has nothing to do with the government and is a private institution, remember, has been working on something called the digital pound. They've even got a cute little nickname for it, Britcoin. Isn't that adorable? Now, this just isn't making pounds digital. We've already got that with bank cards and payment apps. This is different. This is central bank digital currency, or CBDC, which means every single transaction goes through the government's books. They've even set up a digital pound lab for hands-on experimentation. Because nothing says you're just exploring options like building a lab for it, does it? So think about your spending habits. How often do you actually use cash versus cards? If you use cash daily, good. You know, if you're mostly digital, some people are. If you use both equally. I mean, sometimes you've very little options but to go digital. And a little tip for you, if you are going digital, use a payment app. Don't use your bank card. You know, stick to something like Apple Pay or Google Pay or even Samsung Pay or something like that, because although they have your bank card details, they don't give them out. What they do is they give the retailer a token that refers to your bank card, and the retailer has no idea what bank card you presented. He just gets his money. That's a safer way of doing it if you're going to go digital. It's the same thing if you're using email. You're signing up for services or even just asking for a download and they want your email address. I know Apple will, you can hide your email address just by asking for an iCloud address, and they'll put in an email address for you that's linked back to your real email address, but it doesn't get exposed to the guy at the other end. He has this iCloud address. And he'll reply to it and it'll go to your email. You'll reply to him and it'll go back to him. He doesn't realise that, you know, there's a man in the middle, in this case Apple, hiding your identity for you. And it works. It works well. And the other thing is, if you're in an Apple ecosystem, you can go in and you can, and I'm sure Google, and I'm pretty sure Google does this as well, and probably Samsung, but if you're in an Apple ecosystem, you can go in and you can just cut that email off straight away. You know, if he starts sending spam, just boom, bin it. Quite cool. Right, PayPal. PayPal's PayPal, you know. PayPal's close to becoming a bank, isn't it? It's just so damn convenient. See, this is the problem. You have to balance where you want to be with your convenience, because it's fine to say use cash all the time, but sometimes you just can't get it or you've ran out. And what do? You know, you just have to balance it. You have to balance it. So, we're probably a mix. I would imagine we're a mix of digital and cash. But the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey has said if private banks don't innovate fast enough, they're just going to implement the digital pound anyway, in case banks fail to innovate, he says. Trying to find a cash point is an issue these days, Chris, because the banks have they've taken them away, because they've took their branches away and left their cash points. Then they've started taking the cash points away as well. It's harder and harder to find cash. So that effectively, from the Bank of England governor, you know, if the banks fail to innovate, is just basically we're going to do it whether you like it or not. Now, imagine every purchase you make, your morning coffee, your petrol, your cheeky takeaway. Imagine the government could see it all in real time. Real time. That would be scary. Then that's us going back into person of interest, you know, type territory, isn't it? Does it depend who's in charge, or no, it doesn't. It's scary. It's really scary. If it depends on who's in charge, then you're not thinking this through, because that's the most terrifying answer of all. Because governments change all the time. What's acceptable today might be weaponized tomorrow. As Chris says there, 40-minute drive to a bank for him. Yeah. France, you should try France. France is France is a scream. Once you get out of the cities and you live in rural France, you know, like the nearest supermarket can be a half-hour drive away, if not further. When you get there, you'll find that most people are paying by cheque, and they're using the cheque printing machine that we used to have. They put their cheque through it and it writes it out for them, and then it comes back. Then they sign it, and I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's like going back to the 80s. Right. What about surveillance? Because as I mentioned last night, that we are probably the most surveilled country in the world at this time. And I remember when I was in the police, you used to go up to the control room in Pitt Street where it was then. And the first time you went in, you went, wow, because they had a wall of cameras. In fact, they had two walls of cameras. They had one wall of cameras that showed you all the, not cameras, TVs or screens. One wall of screens that showed you all the motorway cams that we were controlling in Strathclyde. And that's quite a few. And then on the other side, they had a wall of screens that showed you all the CCTV. And at that point, it was really just Glasgow. I mean, we're talking in the 90s, mid-90s. But can you imagine what that's like now? There must be so many screens and so many operators. I mean, I was working in, when I was in the control room, when I was working in police IT there, you go in and there's a guy sitting in the corner, or there's a woman sitting in the corner or whatever at a workstation, and you've all got three screens and hers is going ping, ping, ping. And it's like, I'm thinking, what the hell is that? And I'm looking over and it's a PNC and it's pinging up every car that goes through a motorway camera with something dodgy about it, whether it be, you know, no MOT, no insurance, because it's reading the numbers in real time and going ping, ping, ping. And the police don't have the resources to go and catch them. But they know that you're there and they will get you eventually. So that's something to bear in mind. This year, 2025, they have deployed 10 new live facial recognition vans across police forces. These things can identify you in a crowd faster than you can say civil liberties. The Stasi would weep with envy at these devices, wouldn't they? And you've got to watch because a lot of them use the same kind of technology that your iPhone or your Samsung does to unlock. You know, you look at it and it unlocks. They're using infrared and sunglasses and things like that. Even the light buff won't necessarily stop it seeing your face. You'd be surprised. I mean, you ever woken up at night, looked at your phone and it's unlocked for you. And it's pitch black. How can it see you? Infrared. And all cameras can see infrared, but what manufacturers normally do is put an infrared filter over the camera so as you get good photos. And that's why you never get great photos from your selfie cam, because it doesn't have an IR filter, so as it can read you at night and open your phone for you. Right, so the Met Police alone has scanned nearly 800,000 people since 2020. That's not suspects. That's just people going about their business. Just random people. Nothing is infallible, Robin, you're correct. You ever seen one of the facial recognition vans? I'm sure if you live in London you have. Shalani, you'll no doubt have seen them. You've been hanging about with some dodgy people, haven't you? And you don't need to worry about it. I'm not in the police anymore, so I'm not going to tell anyone. But they are everywhere. They really are everywhere. And the DVLA, they're everywhere with our, you know, we're just snipping in this area to see if there's any untaxed cars about. And you know, you see those vans sitting at the side of the road with a camera up that aren't speed vans, that aren't police vans. They're usually DVLA, clocking to see who's not paid their tax. And then you'll just get a letter through the door. Right, so, and where's all this surveillance kit made? Most of it is made in China by companies controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. 60% of, no, I know you'd like to say Israel, Robin, but 60% of NHS trusts use Chinese CCTV. 73% of local authorities use Chinese CCTV. 85% of those use Hike Vision equipment, the same company that helps China monitor ethnic minorities in Xinjiang. So, get this straight. We're worried about Chinese surveillance while literally installing Chinese cameras to watch ourselves. The irony is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. And you have no idea how unscrupulous and devious the Chinese will be in putting in back doors and feeding information back to the motherland. Next time you go out, count how many cameras you can spot. You know, CCTV, traffic cameras, shop security, phone cameras. Count them. And, you know, we can talk about it tomorrow night, how many cameras you saw. You don't need to be out for long. You'll run out of numbers. And remember, do you remember the COVID contact tracing when we all had to fill out details when we were moving locations and things? The NHS app that was supposed to be temporary. Well, that infrastructure's still there. Just waiting to be switched back on. It's not been removed. Ring door cams as well, mate. Did you see the guy? Police came to the guy and said, you know, there's something happened across the road. We're just looking to see if I see you've got a door camera. I'm just looking to see if we could have a look at the footage and see if it's caught what happened. And the guy goes, well, you'll have to put in a subject to access request and there'll be a fee for that. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, isn't it? You know, play them at their own game. So it gets pretty insidious, doesn't it? Because controlling people isn't just about watching them. It's about making them control themselves. And they're good at it, aren't they? People have self-censored. Even Ben and I self-censored to a degree. You know, when Lucy Connolly got the jail, we thought maybe we should delete some of these tweets, although we hadn't said anything. And we shouldn't have deleted those tweets. So, you know, Redos Sconford down in the vertical chat there. Good to see you, mate. That's a new name. Starmer needs banning. You're right. He is the worst Prime Minister of all time. And I mean, yeah, he was ahead of the CPS when Jimmy Savile walked. Indeed, he was. But it was nothing to do with him, you know. It was another department that handled that. Yeah, right. So, what about the nudge unit? We've heard about the nudge unit. We all know about them, don't we? Officially, the Behavioural Insights team. The psychological manipulators have been playing with your head since 2010. And most of you don't know it. They've modified tax letters to make you more likely to pay. They've changed organ donation forms to increase registrations. They've altered benefit application processes to influence behaviour. You don't need to take your messages away, read all. They were fine. There was nothing untoward there. It's all for your own good, of course, isn't it? Changing all these things. It's all for the greater good. Just like everything else is. Think about recent government communications you've received. Letters, emails, forms, they seem to push you towards a particular decision. So maybe you've been nudged. I mean, look at what's it called? Battle Juice. Now there's a good name. Who needs a social credit system when you can't afford to do it anyway? But that makes it all the more appropriate, because then they're giving you the money and they control what you spend it on. Think about it. They have you at every step then. That's why they want everybody on UBI, so as they can control exactly what you're going to do. If you're going to be a good boy or a bad boy, and we'll just take a little money off you and you might go hungry this week. You know? You won't get your noodles because that's all you'll be eating shortly. We're trapped in a system already, Bumblebee T. You're quite correct. We are. You're trapped in a system. That's like a line from a song, isn't it? Anyway, where was I? Where was I? We were manipulating. Oh, aye, the nudge thing. I was talking about TV licensing. Because TV licensing don't send a letter to you saying, we noticed you've bought a TV. Have you considered buying a license? They don't do that, do they? UBI's Universal Basic Income. So what they do is they send you a TV license and say you need to pay this because we don't have one on record for this house. And you're like, rip. Ben, I've never had a TV license. Not once in my life have I ever paid for a TV license. So let's compare this, because all these nudge units of things are really good, because the scary thing is when it works, you don't even notice. And that's the point. That's the point of it, isn't it? Now compare this to China's approach. China uses explicit rewards and punishments. Behave well, get benefits. Misbehave, get restricted or publicly shamed in China. UK just manipulates your decision-making environment so you think you're choosing freely. That's called democracy. You think you're choosing freely. Doesn't mean you are. Now, the Chinese system probably wouldn't work as well on us, because most of us who have got to the point where we're being publicly shamed don't give a toss. And you'd be like, yay, I made it to the big wall of shame. It's like, you know, when people used to say in the old days, I'll put your name in the window. Nowadays, nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. This is why they're being smart about it in the UK. So what's worse, being explicitly controlled or being manipulated into controlling yourself? I'll be honest, I think it's being manipulated into controlling yourself. And they are excellent at it. All you need to do is look at all these. And it's usually the left. And they're all like, yes, but you have to do this for the greater good. You have to do this, you know. You've got to save the planet. Oh, I think we'll all be in the dungeon, Bumblebee. Definitely. Ugh. So let's put it all together, because the question isn't whether Britain is building a social credit system, it's whether we're building one that's more effective than China's. So China's system is obvious. They tell you what the score is, plain and simple, what behaviours they're tracking, what punishments you'll face. It's authoritarian, but it's honest authoritarianism. You know, it's up front. They're not hiding it. You know, you're a bad boy, we're going to take your house off you. You know, it's quite simple. Britain's system is distributed, it's deniable, and it looks like democracy. Multiple agencies, private sector partnerships, gradual implementation, all of them talking to each other, all of them meshed, sharing information. Probably against GDPR, because, I'll be honest, nobody gives it any fucking lip service. They really don't. And that kind of system, it's got tentacles everywhere, and it's much harder to oppose because it doesn't look like one system, does it? Bumblebee says, when you've got nothing to lose, what will they take away? I'm homeless as it is. Well, yeah, exactly. And that's you are one of the probably, I don't know, 2 to 5% that are at either end of the scale. Well, you've either got loads and loads of money and you can do what the hell you like, or you've got nothing and you can really do what the hell you like. It's the people in the middle. It's the people that have homes, that have families, that have jobs. It's those people that are curtailed by this system. It's not the outliers. If you're the outlier like me, you know, we're kind of untouchable. It doesn't matter. It's the Lucy Connollys of the world. It's people that suffer when they start getting locked up. So, connected dots. Digital ID knows who you are. Digital currency tracks what you buy. Surveillance cameras watch where you go. Behavioral nudges influence what you choose. Data sharing links it all together. So what do you think? Hi, Jacqueline Watt on the vertical chat. Oh, is this the Jackie Watt that I know? Fellow sergeant? Or is it a different one? Anyway, moving on. Do you think the UK is building a social credit system? What do you think? Do you think we're building it by the back door? Are you the... I don't know what a WTFR is. But anyway. What do you think? Yeah? No? Maybe? I think they are. Robin says 100%. Oh. Corrupt Systems since Bumblebee, Paul Armstrong, fact-filled stream this. I like. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. You should try the rest of the week. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now, every day, 9 o'clock. Some of them are better than others. I think probably the one last night was a bit better than this one. But, you know, I just, as I said, work on evidence, work on actual a D-Live channel? No, that's not me, Jackie. No, or Jacqueline. That's definitely not me. I'm not on D-Live. But unless somebody's copied my likeness and AI'd me, and that's going to happen. That is going to happen, isn't it? And you just know that at some point, they're not going to be able to use video for evidence anymore, because it's going to get to the point where it's too easy to fake a video. It really is. It's going to be interesting when that happens. And I don't think it's far away. I mean, some of the AI stuff is getting better and better, especially around video. Any new songs? I haven't done a new song for a little bit. I think I need to do refresh, but yeah, we need to do some new songs. You're on the ball there. Britain building China's social credit system. No, not exactly. We're building something potentially more dangerous. A social credit system that doesn't look like one. They call it democracy, but it's far from it. Digital identity that's becoming mandatory. And I think they'll push this through at some point over the next 5 to 10 years. All we can do is resist as much as we possibly can. Digital currency that tracks every transaction, surveillance that watches every move. Behavioural manipulation that influences every choice. You've not been for a walk today. I'm going to deduct some points from your social credit system. The infrastructure's there. The legal framework's in place. Publics, and we talked about that last night. We talked about all the laws that have been put in place over the last 5 years. That's a coordinated plan. And this government hasn't made any changes to those laws. So it's not the government. Sorry. It's not the party that's in power. It's just government. Jackie's right. At least China knows they are a communist country. UK is full of sheeple. Yeah, you're quite correct. They do know they're communist, and they're quite open about it. They tell themselves that. So the public here has been gradually conditioned to accept it all. in the name of convenience and security. And, you know, I had no idea how a national ID system prevents people that came into this country illegally who are criminals, how that helps us to protect ourselves from them. I really don't know. But probably better people than I do. Scariest part, most of it's probably been built with good intentions. COVID contact tracing. I mean, these people, they bought into it, hook, line and sinker. I don't think it was a global conspiracy. I think they actually thought it was going to be mass death in the millions. And that really didn't pan out. Fraud prevention, counter-terrorism, all legitimate concerns, yeah. But the road to tyranny is paved with good intentions and public consent. And that's the problem. We saw it in the COVID at the very start, 2020. People were too quick. They were far too quick to agree with everything the government said. You know, stay 6 feet apart, queue up in the rain, to go into supermarkets and walk around them following arrows. And I know you people didn't, but most of these clowns did. Most of these clowns did. And it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. So is there anything you're going to do differently after tonight's show? You're going to use cash more? You're going to try and stay off the government apps? I deliberately missed my annual checkup at the doctor's just to see what would happen. And I'm not on any NHS apps or anything like that. And they haven't contacted me at all. So I went in today and rearranged an appointment. Didn't phone them because they like that. They like you to phone them. So I didn't phone them. I go in and face them. They've still got Perspex screens on the counter. And you book yourself in by touching a screen now. It's quite soulless going to these places. It's quite sad that professionals like that, who should know better, have been taken in by it. Knowledge is the first step towards resistance. So, keep your knowledge and keep evangelizing it. Tell people about what they should and shouldn't be doing. And, you know, you meet people in the strangest places. I had a guy in the annual checkup. Was that in England? I'm Scottish, mate. I get an annual checkup. They take my bloods and everything. Where was I? I met a guy in Iceland the other day, of all places, not the country, in the store. and I said something, and I moved. I was just putting the stuff on the conveyor belt, and I said something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And he's going, "Yeah, it's all about control." And I'm like, "Yeah, 100% right, mate. 100% right." So there you go. Share the stream. The algorithm doesn't like content like this. So we need you to spread it manually. Tell your mates, tell your family, anyone who'll listen, because the best defence against the surveillance state is an informed population that refuses to accept it. And we've seen some of that happen, but I haven't seen anyone cutting down a camera for a long time now. Right. That's me done for tonight, unless there's anything else in the chat. It's quite another short one tonight. Bumblebee, some doctor's surgery can only apply as a new patient online. What if you're a technophobe or an 8-year-old? Or you don't have a phone, like, who is it? Beats and Types. You don't have a phone. You couldn't do it online, could you? You don't have an app. The whole thing's ridiculous. You know, I mean, that's why I think digital ID should never be implemented, because there are so many people that are going to be left out of the system. so many people that would be left out of the system because they don't have phones, or they refuse, or they're off on they're off grid or whatever. It's 20 to 10 here, Bumblebee. Where are you? What time is it where you are? Oh, you're in the UK? I'm in the UK as well. So, wait, then. You just looking for a time check. Now my chat room's asking for the time. Oh my god, there we go. Yeah. We started at 9. We start at 9 every night. No, we're not abroad. I was abroad. I used to live in France, but I say I'm in the UK, but it depends. Sometimes my stream says I'm in the UK, sometimes it says I'm in Albania or something like that. Whoever knows. Do you know that YouTube doesn't have a advertising agreement with Albania? Just thought I'd mention that. Right. Okay, people, thank you very much. It's been good tonight. I like a little bit of chat, and we've had a little bit of chat on both sides. New faces and names. Paul, we've seen you before. Jacqueline, you're new. Equinox, my control. And now what we'll have to adjust. Control will not comply. Quite right, Equinox. Do not comply. Battlejuice, YouTube doesn't have a sense of humour. Indeed, it does not. It doesn't. Shanty. Good to see you again, Shanty. Thank you for your donation last week. Remember, people, as always, you can always drop me something at Sgt Grumpy's Ko-fi page. And if you need backup for anything we talk about, there will be. I'll put the full report on sgtgrumpy.com along with all the references, so you can do your own research if you want. Okay, Bumblebee T, you can message me. You can get me on. What was I going to say? Twitter. Later. I think it might be on the description, but that's probably the best place to get me. I'm on there more than anywhere. I'll just type it out and then I'll sign off. Yeah, that's me on Twitter. I do have a Discord. That's a good point. I do have a Discord. So I shall need to fire that back up. Tomorrow night is Friday night's all in, where we go nuts for an hour or an hour and a half. And I'll make sure that I've got a Discord running for that and put it in the chat link. In fact, I'll get it fired up again, because I've changed PC. Well, I've changed PC to Mac, and I will have to reinstall Discord. But once I've got that sorted, I'll put it in the YouTube description, and live tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Every time we go live, it's 9 p.m. All in is next, Robin. You are right. Harold, say a few words about the UN. What do you want to say about the UN? I mean, ineffective, incompetent, useless. Where do you want me to start or stop? Right. I suppose every doctor's different, Jacqueline. Maybe your doctor doesn't do that. I know the last one didn't, but this new one does. Don't know. And it's not a doctor, you see. It's a nurse. Or the phlebotomist. Hail Discordia. Indeed, Equinox. Indeed. Right. With that, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Because as always, as you know, it's been great for you.